Hi, I'm Hannah, and today I will be telling you about my essay that I did on the movie Grease. So first off, this is my record I have. This is the main characters, Danny and Sandy. Grease is actually my favorite movie, of all time, so I thought it would be a good fit to do an essay on this just from a different perspective, I guess, than just watching a movie. I chose to do the option where you discuss, different agendas you think the movie is trying to push, and I actually learned a lot about this movie, and it kind of gave me a different impression of the movie now that I listened to the soundtrack. My dad actually really enjoys 50s music and all of that stuff, so that's kind of how I got into this genre of movies and music, and so I'm very used to listening to old stuff like this, and for some reason I just fell in love with this musical, fell in love with the soundtrack. But to get things going, I started listening to the soundtrack while trying to come up with essay ideas, and I did some research on the movie, found out some new facts, but I found out that there is a lot of agendas that this movie is trying to push that I never looked at before. My three examples are the gangs that it portrays and kind of the inaccuracies of that, and how it's not displayed as a violent or aggressive gang. It's more of just high schoolers fooling around and just hanging out and, fun little rivalries, and it's not much violence. There's no weapons, there's no swearing and all of that. My second point was on gender stereotypes and how women are portrayed very low in this movie. There's only one girl, Frenchie, who wants to pursue an after high school education, and basically she ends up dropping out of high school to go to beauty school, and then she ends up dropping out of beauty school, so there's really no want for education. Women are talked down to in the entire movie throughout various songs. So, for example, there's a song, Beauty School Dropout, or there's also, let's see, There Are Worse Things I Could Do. It's just, there are so many negative stereotypes in this movie that are portrayed, and it is really weird considering this movie was made in 1978, I believe, or 1980. It is very weird to see how they still continue to go back, but that's not very much of a surprise considering that the movie industry is male dominated, and is still male dominated today, so it was made by males, I guess, not only for males, but primarily for males. And then my third point was about hookup culture, and how the men in this movie are pushed to go pursue sexual encounters and pushed and supported, when they flirt and do all that stuff and go around with other girls. But then when one girl gets with multiple guys, which would be Rizzo in this movie, she ends up getting a pregnancy scare, and everyone calls her a slut, everyone gets mad at her, and then she even sings a song about that in here, and it's called There Are Worse Things I Could Do. And by listening to the soundtrack while I was writing the essay, it really just struck some things to me, and so now I was actually listening to Grease last night with my dad outside. It's just I listened to it and I'm like, whoa, there's a movie scene where John Travolta, Danny, is in a drive-in with Sandy, Olivia Newton-John, and I don't know if I would call it sexual assault, but, reaches for one of her private areas and she jumps, and there's no consequences for that. But overall, I actually found this essay, very enjoyable. And one of my stronger pieces, I guess, it was nice to look at something from a different perspective. And